Okay, so we're recording now. So Natalia said that in her class, they started talking about MLA format. So MLA stands for the Modern Language Association. There are many different like organizations that kind of guide writing in different industries. In psychology, they use APA. In history, they use Chicago or sometimes Kate Turabian. In engineering, they use something else. So MLA is the Modern Language Association, and they're basically the ones who make the rules and policies and guidelines for different things. Now, at this point, the only thing you're really worried about with MLA is the top left-hand corner, what your page should look like. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys for a minute. And I am Googling OWL Purdue. Purdue is a university and they have a really good online writing lab. And they have, I mean, for me, they're my go-to guide when I have a question. So let's see, I'm going to go down to MLA formatting. Okay, this is about, I think this is it right here, the first page. So, I mean, what the first page of your paper should look like. I don't think you can see it very clearly. I am going to put this Control C. I'm going to put this link in the chat right now. And Hong, I know I had told you yesterday that I would post this in your class, and I forgot. I didn't do it, but I'll do it later. So anyways, it shows you like in the top left-hand corner, you put your name, then you put professor's name, then you put the name of your class, English 1101, and then you put the date. And when you put the date, you put the number, then the month, then the year. You also double space everything. So I am going to open a Microsoft Word page right now. And what I recommend is that when you open your document, don't mess with the margins. Your margins are already set. Everything is fine. Just leave the margins alone. Unless you have like a little kid in the house who like plays around and messes up your Microsoft Word, leave it alone. So see right here where it says no spacing, do that first. Then you go down here where it says paragraph, and I click on this arrow down here, and line spacing, I set it to double. Okay, so now when I type, it's going to skip a line every time I get to my next line. See how it skipped, it made a blank line in the middle? So now everything will be double spaced from top to bottom. I don't need to do anything from this point on. The other thing that I notice in some of my classes is that sometimes students, when they get to the end of the line, they hit the enter button. Do not hit the enter button. Just keep typing. Hold on. Keep typing and it will automatically go to the next line for you. You guys are so quiet. The rest of MLA okay, one more thing. In the top right-hand corner, you want to set up a header. So I'm going to go here. I didn't practice this before. I don't remember how to do it on this one, but I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to header. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to choose I'm just going to choose the first one. And I'm going to type here, I'm going to put Hanif 1. But then I'm going to click here. I'm going to press the tab button until it goes to the right side of the page. And then here, I'm going to say I want this to show up on every page. So as I write more pages, it should come up Hanif 2, Hanif 3. That's all I'm going to say about MLA today. Natalia, thank you for bringing that up. Are there any questions about that?
One question. The footer. On the footer for your class, so we don't worry about the footer, just the header?
MLA format does not have footers.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Latoya, when were you in high school?
Probably about 15 to 16 years ago.
Okay, so I was in high school much, much earlier than that, but I know why you're asking about footers. Everyone else, don't worry about footer. You know, something I learned from a 10-year-old on the weekend is that, have you guys learned about conclusions in your essay?
Yes.
Introduction and conclusion. So, you know, we call it, sometimes we call the introduction and intro. I learned that now they're calling the conclusion an outro, which makes a lot of sense, you know, intro, outro. But
Yes.
yeah, you know, sometimes things change. So, anyways, Natalia, thank you so much for sharing that's what you were studying this week in 1101. I'd love to hear from at least two more of you. Latoya, since you're unmuted, you're going to go next. I'm picking on you. But after Latoya, I want two more of you to tell me what you studied in 1101 or what you're studying in 1101 right now. Go ahead, Latoya.
Okay, right now we're doing um we have to write a 4 paragraph essay about plagiarism.
And whose
So
class are
it's
you in again?
um stock ledger.
Okay.
So
Josh
she
Slager.
said she wants a introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion
Okay. Can you tell me, Latoya, what plagiarism is?
using stuff that doesn't belong to you, using words that don't belong to you, basically copy and paste from an essay that you found online or anywhere, taking someone else's ideas.
You know, the
Essentially.
interesting thing about this, Latoya, and everyone, is that in some cultures, taking somebody else's ideas and using them is considered a form of honor. But in American culture, it's called plagiarism. And plagiarism is illegal. And in some, you know, actually, in any college or any university, plagiarism, you can actually get kicked out of your college for plagiarism. Um, Most professors will not use that as a first resort. There's usually like a warning system, but we have students who have, you know, been kicked out of their program because they plagiarized multiple times. So yeah, plagiarism is when you're taking someone else's idea and using it as your own. Now, later on in the semester, some of you for the essay 2 and some of you not until essay 3, you're going to use MLA to learn how to properly use someone else's idea in a legal way. So basically, you have to give that other person credit. You have to let the reader know that you are using someone else's idea. And one thing I'd really, really like you guys to start doing, I'm gonna put a link here, NPR dot, hold on. Actually, let me just go to it and I'll show it to you guys. NPR.com. So NPR is basically public radio. Let me share my screen with you. I know a couple of you guys are trying to tell me something, but give me a minute. NPR is a public radio station, and I use NPR articles in my classes a lot because it's very neutral. Um, and what I'd really like for you guys to start doing is reading articles or listen to NPR while you're driving, or listen or read articles. I'm just going to use this one. You guys know who Peter Dinklage is? He's an actor. He's like a super famous actor. And I know this is happening. Here's how Disney responded to Peter Dinklage's criticism of its Snow White remake. I haven't. Hey, what happened? I haven't read this article yet, but I've kind of seen the headline in other papers. Um, Let me see if I can. Yeah, okay. Here's an article, right? And you can see in this article, uh, the Emmy-winning Game of Thrones star, blah 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 blah, said he was taken aback. Why is taken aback put in quotation marks in this situation? Anyone tell me, Latoya or anybody, jump in and tell me why here taken aback is in quotation marks.
Is it
because
because it's
they're
what
his
he
words.
said? Oh, right.
Both of you guys are right. But two people said something, and you're both right. These are his exact words. When he was interviewed or when he made this comment, it said that it said Peter Dinklage said he was taken aback. So we know who said it, and we know these were his words. So this article, whoever wrote this article, let's find out who wrote this article. This article is written by Rachel Treisman, but she's letting me and all of us, the readers, know that these are his words. Okay. Millie, I see you're asking if it was cited. There's no citation here. Well, oh, I don't want to confuse anybody. There are two types of citations, Millie. There are in text, and there's at the end, uh, uh, like a works cited page. These people who are writing the article are not using MLA. So let's not confuse this. I'm not trying to show you MLA. I'm trying to show you what Latoya was asking about, which is giving credit to the person who said it or wrote it. So because Peter Dinklage said this, it's in quotations, and it said that, he said it. Then it says, in quotations, take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. He said. Okay, here. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. A spokesman said. So we're not talking about Peter Dinklage's words anymore. Now it's saying a spokesman. And I'm assuming we skipped a lot, but somewhere here it must say something about a Disney spokesman. And if it doesn't, we know that this article is about Disney's response to Peter Dinklage's criticism. So the reason I'm saying this is, let me find a different article. Okay, here's another one. This article is about, I'm sure all of you guys know what's happening with Russia building up its troops around Ukraine. And so this article is about that. So here it has, okay, here's another quote, and then it says, Schmitz said. So basically here, you can see like ideas, Latoya. This article is written by Bill Chappelle, but you can see that Bill Chappelle is using other people's ideas and then giving that person credit. So that Bill Chappelle is not plagiarizing. But I think it's really important that you guys start picking up the newspaper or going to sites like this, reading the news, and then you're going to be able to see how these things are used. Latoya, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else, Latoya?
Not really.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. So Millie has added something in the chat. She said, this week in 1101, we're talking about focus. Millie, who do you have for 1101? I'm really curious. If you don't have a mic, then please put it in the chat. Millie, I'm very curious about who your 1101 professor is, because I'm really happy that you guys are covering this. So in her 1101, they're talking about focus and essay structure, introductions, conclusions, descriptions, transitions. I am going to pick on one of my 1101 students. You know who you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. Can you tell us what Millie and what Millie's professor are talking about when they say focus?
Say the pocket, it means, I think, same last yesterday I learned about a part of an SA organization.
So what does focus mean? When we talk about focus in an essay, what does that mean?
It means important. Try look at something important.
Okay, try to look at something important. What focus is, I'm going to share a whiteboard with you guys for a minute, because this is really, really important. For me, it's probably one of the most important things that we do at this point. So I am going to, can you guys see a white screen on your computer, can you guys see my white screen?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jay. I am going to give you guys a really basic thesis statement. Let's see. The qualities of a good leader are empathy, a service attitude, and honesty. All right? Imagine I have to write a 5-paragraph essay, 3 body paragraphs. So my first body paragraph would be, you can't see the writing? Give it a second. Sometimes it takes a second to come through. Tell me in a minute. Can you guys see it now? Sometimes it takes, seriously? Okay, it takes, yeah. Siddiqui, you can see what I wrote on this white screen? Oh my gosh, you guys. All right.
Now I see. Yeah, now I see here.
Okay, yeah, it takes a minute. So I'm going to type, but it takes a minute for it to show up on your screen. So this is an imaginary thesis. This is just a thesis statement, an example I just came up with. The qualities of a good leader are empathy, a service attitude, example, thesis statement. Okay, now what would happen is I would have 3 body paragraphs. And in each body paragraph, let's say body paragraph 1, I would focus on what? Anyone who studied parts of an essay already should know this. Based on this thesis statement, what is the first body paragraph going to be about?
Empathy.
Empathy.
Empathy. Very good. Okay. Body paragraph 2 is going to be about?
Service attitude.
Thank you. Body paragraph 3 is going to be about?
Honesty.
Honesty. All right. Now, imagine you're writing a 2 or 3 page essay, and you have to cover these 3 gigantic topics. Are you really going to have the space to go in depth? No. Thank you, Jay. You're not going to have space because you only have 2 or 3 pages. By the time you get to the basics of empathy, it's going to be your space is going to be like, all right, you got to move on to body paragraph 2. Same thing will happen. So you'll have to move on to body paragraph 3. So here is where focus comes in. I encourage you guys to focus. And what you would do with focus is choose one of these and then break that one down into 3 body paragraphs. So what I would do now, I would change my example and I would say, among the many qualities of a good leader, one of the most important is empathy. If you don't know what empathy means, please look it up. So I'm admitting in my thesis statement that there are many qualities of a good leader. There are 10 qualities, 20, 8, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to focus on which one? You guys there? Which one am I going to focus on?
Yeah.
Empathy.
Based on this thesis statement, which quality am I going to focus on? Quality, Natalia, quality.
Empathy. I mean,
okay, I'm going to slow down. Thank you, Jay. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to go back. No, we're going to use this example. I'm going to back up. I'm going all the way back to the beginning. Imagine that this is my thesis statement. The qualities of a good leader are empathy. Oops, sorry. How do I go back? I didn't mean to do that. The qualities of a good leader are empathy, a service attitude, and honesty. Thank you, Millie. These are 3 qualities of a good leader. Is everyone with me so far? Just answer if it's a no. If there's someone who doesn't understand this so far, just tell me no. If this is my thesis statement, based on this, I know that my first body paragraph has to be about empathy. My second body paragraph has to be about service attitude. My third body paragraph has to be about honesty. This is totally fine. Like, this is correct. This is okay. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this. It is correct. The problem begins when we start writing and we are asked, we have to develop our ideas. We have to go deep. Do not just write what the whole world already knows. So for example, okay, I have a 10-year-old at home. If I ask her, she's 10, she's not a college student. So if I ask her, explain empathy in a leader, and I ask you, explain empathy in a leader, I'm expecting a much higher level, developed, deeper answer from you because you are an adult and you are a college student. If you write the same thing my 10-year-old writes, it's no good. Are you guys still with me? Anyone who needs me to repeat that or explain it again, tell me now. Okay, I did not get any no's. Natalia, what do you mean, please? Please what? Does anyone need me to explain that again? Okay, I'm going to explain it again. We have 3 ideas. Based on my thesis statement, my essay will be about 3 things. 1, 2, 3. But what happens is that empathy is a gigantic topic. Service attitude is a gigantic topic. Honesty is a gigantic topic. I cannot explain empathy in 1 paragraph. I cannot explain service attitude in 1 paragraph. I cannot explain honesty in 1 paragraph. Natalia, does that make sense so far? Yes or no? Just that part. Okay, good. Now, since I have 3 gigantic ideas, I need to focus. I have to choose a focus. That's when I'm going to do this. I need to focus. I cannot write a 2 or 3 page essay on these 3 things because they're too gigantic. So I am going to choose one of them. Anyone, it doesn't matter. I am going to choose empathy. And I am going to rewrite my thesis statement. The most important the most important quality of a good leader is empathy. Do I need to repeat this last part? I really appreciate you guys giving these comments and asking me to slow down and asking me to repeat. I really appreciate it. That means that you are an engaged student. Thank you so much for participating. So now that I have decided to focus on empathy and I have a new thesis statement, this is my new thesis statement, I'm going to have 3 new body paragraphs. Body paragraph 1 is going to be about Empathy. Remember, I'm talking about good leaders. So I don't know if I'm talking about okay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. I am going to ask you guys a question. I want you to either unmute or put it in the chat. Tell me some different types of leaders. Like, for example, a president of a country is one type of leader. Tell me some other leaders. I'm waiting for you guys. Tell me some different types of leaders. A company leader, very good. A group leader, okay, could be a study group leader. It could be a club, like a book club leader, very good. A church leader, excellent. These are great. Excellent. I think it could be a mother or a father or an oldest sibling. So I'm going to delete this for a minute. I'm going to delete this for a minute, and I'm going to make this a little bit tougher for you guys. I'm going to develop my idea even more. I'm going to focus even more. So when I say oldest brother, very good, T, you're right. So when I say good leader, if I want, and now I know I'm getting a little bit crazy, a little bit too much focus, but I want my paper to be an A paper. I could even choose what kind of leader. A family leader, very good, Natalia. If I really, really want to focus even more, I can choose a specific type of leader. So then I could say, among the many qualities of a good oldest brother, or among the many qualities of a good church leader, or among the many qualities of a good CEO, one of the most important is empathy. But I'm not going to do that right now. Let's stick with what we have. I just wanted to share that with you guys, but let's just stick with what we have. Among the many qualities of a good leader, one of the most important is empathy. So now, Jay, I'm going to answer your question in just right now. So body paragraph 1 is going to take my thesis statement, empathy, and it's going to break it down. So maybe I say, let's just say I'm talking about president of a country, okay? Empathy with those with less. I don't know. I have to think about this for a minute. Among the many qualities of a good leader, one of the most important is empathy. Okay. You guys help me out here. Why am I doing all the work? Give me 3 examples of empathy as a good leader. Maybe we could do this.
Listen and understand.
No, those would be different qualities. Listening would be a different quality. Understanding would be a different quality. We need to break empathy down. We're not trying to say empathy in different ways. We're trying to take empathy and break it down. So we could say maybe social empathy, body paragraph, oops, I made a mistake. We could say economic empathy. We could say educational empathy. So let's just say, for example, we're talking about the leader of a country. The leader has to have educational empathy. That means he really has to understand what is happening with teachers and what is happening with students. He really has to be able to feel what they feel so he or she can make good policies in education. The leader has to have good social empathy so he or she can feel what the people's struggles are. And he or she can make good policies. A good leader should have economic empathy. A good leader should understand what it feels like to make minimum wage, what it feels like to be unemployed, what it feels like to have to pay, you know, to not get a raise or to have to pay so much, you know, rent going up so much? Do I need to explain this breakdown again? I'm waiting for a response from you guys. So Jay, you asked, so for the 3-body paragraph, we just support our claim with 3 examples. I don't know how many of you are working on the first essay in 1101. Hong, you're not doing it yet. In my class, I don't talk about the first essay yet, but some of you guys are. And so in an Jay, for an illustration essay, the answer is yes. But when you get to compare, contrast, and argumentative, the answer will change, and we'll talk about that answer at that time. But essay 1 is called an illustration essay or an example essay, and the reason it's called an example essay is that you're giving examples to back up your point. That is what an example essay is. So for Jay, the answer is yes. You're welcome. I am going to leave this here, and it'll be in the recording in case anybody wants to go back and take a look at it. I'm not going to go any further on this topic today. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you, Latoya, Natalia, Xavier. I'm going to show you guys, yeah, I'm going to talk about this week right now, Millie. Jay, hold on just a second. I am going to share my screen, a different screen. This is your assignment for the week, right? So if you go to announcements, it says this week we will continue working on developing ideas. So many of you are already on the first essay in 1101, and that's why we talked about some of the things we talked about, actually the main thing we've been talking about for the last 15-20 minutes. But in this class, I'm not ready to move on to that yet. I really want, we're going to still talk about developing ideas, because if you don't really understand how to expand on your ideas, you're going to have a really hard time working on essay 1. So you're let's see. Okay, so when you go to lessons and you go to lesson 1, you get this, you get your assignment. It says this assignment is due. It says this assignment is due on Monday, January 31st. You guys, I'm getting way too many emails from students saying, sorry, I had a technical difficulty, or sorry, something happened. Get your assignments in early so that you don't have any kind of problems. So when you go to the assignment, this is what it looks like. I give you guys a website, and I said, this is also to help you expand your vocabulary. I want you guys to click on this, and I want you to look at all these words and adjectives that you can use to describe yourself. There's 100 words here. And I'm asking you to go through this list and choose 5 of the words, any 5 that you think describe you. Write 1 paragraph for each of the qualities. So you're going to write, if I choose loyal, I'm going to write 1 paragraph about how I am loyal. If I choose affectionate, I'm going to write another paragraph about explaining how I'm affectionate. Flexible. If I choose flexible, I'm going to write another paragraph about how I'm flexible. If I say self-confident, I'm going to write another paragraph about me being self-confident. And then same thing for the 5th one. So you're writing 5 separate essays. 5 different paragraphs. And I give you guys an example. This sample is showing you how I develop my ideas. I take 1 word, disciplined, and I give so many examples. I explain how I am disciplined. Are there any questions about this week's assignment? Millie, does that answer your question? Okay, good. Perfect. All are there any, Jay, you can hold on a minute, but are there any other questions? Does anyone have any other questions? You're welcome. All right, guys. Jay, you hold on. Otherwise, I will see the rest of you. I'm going to stop the recording.